Hey, Joanne. Um, so here's what I do. I start with the peas, okay? So if you haven't already gotten the peas, I would recommend that you go to Carly Seeds. And at Carly Seeds, if you look in the frozen section, they will have frozen peas from different companies, like Green Giant or whatever. But they'll also have frozen peas that look like they came out of somebody's garden, like somewhere local. It'll just be the peas will just be in a like a not a Ziploc bag, but just some kind of plain bag. But those are the ones I would get. And if you can get peas that are called purple whole peas, they're going to be the best. But Crowder peas would be fine. Either purple whole peas or Crowder peas. Anyway, I know I've found purple whole peas at Carly C's before. And my hair looks purple, speaking of purple. But anyway, it's not purple. All right, so the peas, I would put enough water to cover them. And then I would put about, if you're just cooking like one pot of peas, I would do like 2 tablespoons of bacon grease. And maybe even add some little bits of, ham, like from a ham hock or whatever. Um, and I add a little bit of salt, but not much, and a little bit of pepper. Wait until they've cooked, until you taste them, to add the rest of your salt and pepper. And that's all I season mine with. I just season them with salt and pepper and bacon grease, and maybe sometimes ham. But anyway, if you will put this, you may not really even give a shit about this, but like I always cut up a little piece about this long of celery and put it in there. And with any time I cook beans or peas or anything like that, because you will not have gas. It will not cause you to have, it won't make you have gas. So anyway, then you just take the celery out. Don't tell anybody you put it in there. But I learned that from my friend whose dad owned a restaurant. Then, so the peas, that's the peas. You just cook them till they're done and they taste good to you. That's simple as I do it, just like that. Then the potatoes. I mean, the way I do the potatoes, I always use golden potatoes because they taste better to me. But whatever kind you use, just peel them, boil them, and make sure that you boil them like to where they're really mushy, so you don't have to do a lot of mashing. You can basically whisk them, and they already are so soft they'll mix up by themselves. They'll mash up by just by whisking. But you're going to boil the potatoes and then pour your water off. And depending on how many potatoes you use, I would use I'd start out with a half of a stick of butter, and I use salted butter. So half a stick of butter, and then whisk that in with your potatoes, add your salt and pepper, taste it. If you need more butter, add another stick, another half a stick. The most butter I would ever add is a whole stick of butter, but I don't usually add that much. Half a stick should be enough, but anywhere from half a stick to a whole stick, and you can't go wrong. And then your salt and pepper, and whisk it up real, real, real good. Like the last thing you want to do with your mashed potatoes is add some milk, and you don't want to add much. But you want to have them pretty much done by the time you add the milk. The milk is just going to give it a little bit of creaminess. Taste it when you're about ready to pour some milk in there. Taste your potatoes. Look at, the thickness and that kind of thing. And just pour, just eyeball it. Just pour a little tiny bit in there. Maybe a fourth of a cup. It doesn't take much, but it gives it something different. It just gives the potatoes a little something. So then you go ahead and you pour your milk in there, you whisk everything all up and make them real creamy or whatever, and you're done with your potatoes. Now, hopefully you've already started with your steak, but I'm just telling you this as I think of it. You need to do the steak first because it's going to take the longest to cook. But if you're using cube steak, this is where it's real important that you cook it long enough, because cube steak is delicious, and I like it better than hamburger steak. But the cube steak will be tough if you don't cook it long enough. So if you're using cube steak, the first thing you want to do is take you a pan and put oil in it enough to cover the bottom. I would use canola oil or something similar like vegetable oil, Crisco, anything like that. Put your oil in your pan and get you a little container of, like a little plate of flour, or little, I always use those containers you get from like the Chinese takeout. Put your flour in there and then add you some salt and pepper. I don't know how much to tell you to add. And you can even do your salt and pepper after you flour them. But what you want to do is you want to take your wet cube steak, dredge the cube steak in the flour. And then if you didn't put salt and pepper in your flour, before you put the cube steak in the pan, sprinkle you some, salt and pepper on the cube steak. Make sure that pan is hot, because all you're really wanting to do is fry both sides of your cube steak. You're going to cook it longer in the gravy, but you just want to get it fried on both sides real crisp, because that's also how you're going to make your gravy. So you're going to take all that cube steak, you're going to fry it real good on both sides until you've browned it and it's crispy. Then you put it in a plate, set it to the side. And then now you've got your pan. Maybe turn it, if it's still if it's too hot, maybe turn it down to medium, but no lower than medium. But you've had it hot to do your steak. Now you can turn it down a little bit, is what I'm saying. So turn it down to medium. You still got some oil in there. Make sure you don't have too much oil. I mean, it doesn't need to be any more than enough to cover the pan. Because too much oil, you're going to have greasy gravy, and that won't be good. So with what you've got left, you've got little bits of your cube steak where you fried it. Now you're going to take a handful of flour, and you're just going to shake it all over the bottom of that pan. Take you a whisk, and you're just going to whisk in the flour into the oil. Because here's the trick when you're making gravy. Flour will not dissolve in watery stuff. Like, it's not going to dissolve in beef broth, but it will dissolve in oil. So you go on and do your flour in your oil and get it all mixed up real good before you add the beef broth. Then you're going to have beef broth. Pour beef broth in there, stir it a little bit, pour a little more, stir some more, until you get it to the desired thinness. Is already going to be it's going to start out too thick. But do this process slowly, because you'll be able to see, like, when you first pour the beef broth in there and you start stirring it, you'll see what I mean. It's almost like the flour grows, and that gravy will get thick, and it'll be like too thick. So then pour you some more beef broth. Stir, stir, stir. And the thing you don't want to do is make it too thin, because it's hard to thicken it back up once you've made it too thin. Okay? Because if you just sprinkle flour in there, it won't dissolve good. You have to mix that flour up with that oil before you ever put beef broth in it. And then you just keep adding enough beef broth. What you want is enough gravy to cover all of that steak you just made. Because after you make that gravy, you're going to put the steak in there, and you want to have enough gravy to smother all of it. But anyway, before you put the steak into the gravy, taste your gravy. If it needs more salt and pepper, give it more salt and pepper. But you notice I don't really use a lot of seasoning besides salt and pepper. But that works for me most of the time. But anyway, just if you want to give it a little something extra, you can buy a package of like brown beef gravy and add that. I don't like to use too much because it tastes fake. It'll taste like it came from some cafeteria somewhere. But I like to use a little bit of it sometimes. But anyway, that's just up to you. That's completely up to you. You can make the gravy just like I told you, and it'll be good. But that's what you're going to use for your gravy, is just flour and the grease from where you made your steak, and then also beef broth and salt and pepper. And once you get your gravy made, put your cube steaks that you fried into the gravy, put a lid on the pot, and you at least are going to want to cook them on low. Make sure you turn it down to low. Least you're going to want to cook them for an hour. but you can do 2 hours. I mean, the more you cook them, the more tender they're going to be. And that's the important thing with cube steak, is making sure they're tender. But that's it. So I hope it turns out good, and I hope you've enjoyed my little video. I just couldn't figure out any other way to get all this information to you. I tried to do a recording and then it wouldn't upload. And anyway, just call me if you have any questions. And I love you guys. And happy birthday, Scott, and happy Father's Day. Bye.